Oh, it's Friday today. Okay. Um. So I was just thinking a little about things. Sadly, I just remember that I lost all the tabs in regards of Genesis 6 in regards to the fallen angels. Um, I had found this website, huge amount of collection from the Christians and sources in regards of this topic, which was wonderful. Sadly, stupidly, I didn't save the page. It seemed to be the best of the best that I found in regards to different sources. Now, if you go into Genesis 6 and all that, and actually look into the Hebrew and all that, it also becomes it's more much more solid in regards to this. We're talking about fallen angels, um, demons, pretty much. That, well, fallen angels, whatever we want to call them, and they are mating with the daughters of Adam. It makes it more clear in the Hebrew. It's just much more clear in the Hebrew compared people might be able to take translations and say, oh, but this is not, it doesn't say that, it says something else and all that. But if you actually go into the Hebrew, it is much more clear that we are actually, talking about fallen angels. Not only in regards of the issues in regards of that it's fallen angels and all that. We have a huge amount of sources. This was the general view in the past by Christians as well. And that page that I had was full of, you can find all the pages and all that, but it was a huge amount of sources that this person had collected. Sadly, again, I lost it when I lost all the tabs. I have put it to the side, like many of the other tabs and all that, because there's so much to research these days. But the thing is, you have so much material where it talks about this thing happening, and um, when people are trying to discount that, because it just sounds a little crazy or whatnot, it's what the Bible says, and also further from the outside sources. In regards to the satanic sources, they have their own versions of these fallen angels mating with man and all that, which seem to be building somewhat on those things, in regards to what happened in the past. But seeing them as gods and whatnot, instead of actually seeing them as fallen angels who are actually doing things that they shouldn't do. And which actually makes me think, which might be one of the reasons why God was so angry in regards to Sodom and Gomorrah. We have these two angels going into the city, and these depraved people have they wanna do things that they shouldn't do. So, but anyway, we have multiple books in regards to this. Where just some of the books just makes a little information about it, not really a biggie. It's like, oh yeah, this happened, right, and then we just move on, right? It's like what it's like Genesis, right? You get a little chapter in regards to this thing, and it's like, yeah, okay, so what happened there again? Could we no? Okay, so you have different books that just write a little about it in the passing of it, just and then goes further to other things. You do have some other books that gives a little more details, but overall, it's kind of a thing. The same thing we have in the New Testament on some other subjects, like the people where the grave sprung up. It's written in the book of Matthew like a one-liner. I heard that it actually is in one of the other gospels as well. I don't recall that, but because someone was using the argument that one of the gospels said one thing in regards to when the grave sprang up, in regards to the dead becoming alive, and I can't remember. It should be one of the other gospels, but at least in the book of Matthew we have it, because someone was attacking because of the time in regards to when this happened. But I can't remember. I can't remember where it should be in the other Gospels. Maybe Luke, but I don't know. I will need to reread it. Although I do have two movies based on the book of Luke that I need to see, so I can pick the best of them to put on my website. I try to find the best best movies with on the gospel where they follow it point by point in regards to the Bible. Like the very very best is the Gospel of John, HD. That's a huge, a great movie in regards of the. It's the best of the best. Now, can you find issues and all that? Sure, but it's minor compared to. There's a lot of other, movies in regards to Jesus and all that takes huge amount of freedom and liberty to do their own thing. Now, some of them might actually take some liberties that is maybe recorded by Josephus or something like that, but still, it's not. It's going outside what we have in the Bible. Of course, you can use, in regards to how things are, but sometimes they just take, liberty of. So anyway, and they don't go by the Bible word for word, and the Book of John does that. I have those on my webpage, and at some point I would have liked to look at the two Gospels of Luke again, on those two versions I have, and see which one is the best. I think one of them follows the King James version, and the other, which I'm not sure. Anyway, I will have to, yeah, I might have too many things to do, um, so I can delete the other one, but you just want one, right? The best. But I don't really know which one is the best because both of them looks pretty good as far as I recall. But if there's something that really stands out, to throw it out, that would be, okay. But I need to see both of them. Any case, heating up some coffee here. But yeah, let's get back to. So we have this in regards to the fallen angels. Now, some people will say that it's not fallen angels and all that, but this was the standard view by Christians in the past. The standard view, it's not to be debated. Pretty much, it was just how it was. Not that we really, but that was how it was. And you do wonder in regards of, of course, we have the Book of Enoch, which of course we should have to be careful in regards of and all that. Uh-oh. I don't have coffee flavored heating or whatever. Sauna. Smells like coffee. Burnt coffee. Anyway, I guess it's heated up. But we have like Book of Enoch and again other books that actually writes a little about these fallen angels in regards to what was going on. Again, it's hard to verify fully in regards to the accounts. We know the Book of Enoch have at least some issues as well. It might be multiple documents that have been fixed together, and some of the documents might have been okay, and others might not have been. But anyway, there are some of these where you, if you understand a little in regards to clean and unclean animals and all that, actually can get the whole story pretty much, or a huge amount of the story from Adam and Chava through the different patriarchs throughout history and all that in regards of animals, clean and unclean animals and the Nephilim and all that. According to the book of Enoch, there was three different kinds of Nephilim. So the angels, get down there and apparently produces three different variants of these fallen beings, what they are, Nephilim, children of the fallen angels mating with the daughters of Adam, which again, again, translations and all that. If you go to the Hebrew, it's much more clear. We're talking about the line of Adam compared to the Ben Elohim. So from the sons of Adam, they mate with the daughters of Adam. Well, Adam is the whole line of man. So when people will try to make this Seth thing or whatever, that there was some righteous line and non-right, it's just bullshit. So when you go into the Hebrew, it just becomes much more clear. It's much more, it takes it further away it's a lot harder to say something, other than it's what it says. And the line is bigger. We just had the whole line of Adam before that chapter in regards of the genealogy of Adam. So what is that's the sons of Adam. That's us humans, whatever you want to mankind. So you see the differences between, but the sons of the gods in regards of mankind. Of course, some translations it will that distinction will be less and all that, and then people use it, and then apparently they will go against this thing. But anyway, again, multiple other documents in history has talking about that, and that's an overwhelming amount of it. And I'm so thinking about it, I'm so sad that I lost that website. I should have copy pasted it and put it on my own website in regards to that, because that was the best that I found in regards of a collection of all those documents and Christians and whatnot. But yeah, that's what happens when technology is depraved and against you, and programmers just want to bullshit and be bought up by Google, because money, and money corrupts. The love of money, and so many people loves the money, and then things corrupts. Anyway, but there is a subject in the New Testament which is, again, kind of the same, and that's the springing open of the graves. Again, it might be mentioned twice. I can only remember the book of Matthew. Might be in the book of Luke, because again, there was someone trying to make the argument in regards of when those graves were open. Was it before or after, or this and that and all that? Because apparently there was some difference in regards. I would go with the book of Matthew. If there's any other book that writes something else, the book of Matthew was the one that the Nazarenes used. Now, who would the Nazarenes be? They would be the first Christians, and they would be the witnesses to the events. So who would I trust? If Luke writes something where he's gathering the data points, as he says, and all that, and the book of Matthew says something else in regards of when this happened, in regards of the, it's not a huge thing in regards of when, but, apparently according to this source, I recall, there's a little difference in regards of before or after, whatever, whatnot, but anyway. But the book of Matthew was, of course, have more authenticity than Luke, because Luke wasn't there and the Nazarenes was there. So Matthew was writing the book of Matthew, and he wrote it in Hebrew. And then the Greeks translated it as best as they could, and thereby we have some variations in the Greek. It's incredible that the scholars want to look into the Greek and all the variations of the Greek when they could just go to the Hebrew and the Aramaic and pretty much, throw that nonsense out, because then we don't have those issues for the most part. Oh, it rains. Oh, interesting. But they don't want to do that, and the Aramaic Bible books are very expensive and can be very. I do have the Aramaic in digital form and all that, but it's the tool is not. And it doesn't even. It's not even in Hebrew letters in regards to the Old Testament. I'm so disappointed when it was so expensive, but it's in Aramaic letters. Oh yeah, just learn some more letters, right? Like, why didn't you just fix it to Hebrew? It shouldn't be that difficult for you to do. Same letters in regards of Aleph, Bet, Gimel, Dalet, Hey, and so forward, although said a little differently, but same 22 letters and all that. Give me a break, They did it with the New Testament, but not the Old. So that's, and it was very expensive, and I'm like, come on, that's just bullshit. Anyway, You can get them also in solid things and all that, but every single book is highly expensive to get. I would like to at least get the book of Genesis so I can look into it in regards of. But yeah, of course, it becomes less important overall because the very important thing is to believe in Jesus and but of course the truth is always nice to get more of so we don't make too many false issues in regards of things um and in regards of debating nonsense in regards of what really happened in 6 Genesis and all that. I think it's pretty clear. And of course, the devil's satanic children are hiding the facts about the historical facts about what is happening. They control everything, so they hide the historical. It's not science anymore when you begin to hide things because it doesn't add up to your story, right? Then it's a fairy tale, a made up nonsense bullshit because they hide what. But yeah. Anyway, so we have the book of Matthew talking about these graves springing forth, and it's just a one-liner, pretty much. And apparently, it seems like Luke, maybe, or some one of the other sources seems to have talked about it. But then we have First John, which is I was listening to First John again, and it's something that had bothered me in the past as well. And it's like if we're going to accept First John, right, as authentic and valid, right, but there's kind of another thing in that is kind of oh yeah. By the way, in regards of Eusebius, translated from the Aramaic, the story of I think it was an apostle, but at least a disciple that goes up to the king that is sick to heal him, and because apparently Jesus had written a letter to him saying that he won't come because the king wants Jesus to come up to him because he's heard about the persecution from the Jews, from his own people. But he wants he wants Jesus to come up to him because there's enough room for him up there. And it's like, if you actually were a king, right, and you know that this guy's just going around healing people, if you're a good king, right, everybody's bad. But if you really are like, you want to have the goodness for the people, and you have this guy running around healing people, it's like, hey, come up here, we have room enough in our kingdom for you, and you can heal as many people as you want, It's like, you would be, joyous about it, right? Hey, come up here, and we have much more room. If the Jews hate you and don't accept you as the king of the Jews and all that, just come up here. We have more than enough room in the kingdom to have you run, have you heal our people and all that. Yay! You would think that, and it seems like this king actually, seemed to have, well, come up here, man, And I have an affliction myself, so he understood, he was sick, and it's not fun to be sick. And if you're really, of an honest character and all that, you would not have other people sick either. So if he's like, okay, he can, if he could come and heal me, and then he could also heal all the others that are around in the kingdom, come up here, just anyway. So the thing is that it says that Jesus apparently wrote a letter to him, or at least got what do you call it, spoken in regards of a letter to this guy saying that he wouldn't come up and all that, but after the things he would send someone and all that, and he did that according to this. If you want the whole details, the facts, totally solid, word for word, you just go and read it in the book of Eusebius. But so this guy goes up, either an apostle or one of the disciples of Jesus after Jesus have died, and this king is being, healed and all that. But the thing is, when this disciple or apostle comes up to this king, he actually mentioned this thing in regards of springing up the graves or the dead, coming to life. Again, just in passing, pretty much, Just, oh yeah, that happened, It's not like going into explaining further. Yeah, it's like, and I'm like, if we have people that comes to life a lot of people coming to life, wouldn't that be anyone like, be interested in what that story was? Okay, you came to life, so do you remember anything in regards to when you were dead? Were you conscious? When you were dead, or and something of that nature, right? And there seems to be in regards to the story of the two persons. I think the story is in one of the pilot documents, which apparently has some variations in regards to the pilot document, which is said to be what Pilate also writes to one of the other Romans in regards to what has happened and all that. I think that the story is to be found there. I'll have to reread it at some point when I can find it, but I think it's I was looking around for it, and apparently it seems to maybe be in the pilot document, one of the variations of it, of these two guys that have been resurrected and tell their story. Now again, it's very hard to figure out if things are authentic or not, right? But we clearly have outside sources talking about this spring, and it's in the New Testament, right? We can't run away from it because it's clearly something they wrote in the New Testament as happening. So, but then we of course go to First Peter, which I have maybe I can find the English. I have a sort of an, what do you call it? A little difficulty with, or whatever you want to call it. It's like, okay. In regards of understanding totally, because, if what Peter writes is true, then Jesus was fully conscious when he goes to Sheol, to Hades, to the underworld, in the inner earth, the heart of the earth, as Jesus himself says. Of course, he's dead. The body is dead, but it seems like Peter. Well, he must. According to Peter, he must be alive in regards of conscious state. Well, at least what it says. Okay, let's see here. Let's take a Bible here and find First John, and so that's kind of what. A little what bothers me in regards of how it all fits together. So, according to Peter, he goes to the underworld. We know that Jesus himself was saying, well, he would be 3 days in the heart of the earth in regards to the underworld. And that's in Hebrew, that's Sheol. Now, Sheol in Greek, translated into Greek, is Hades. That's the word that they use for Sheol. And the underworld, the inner earth, the realm of the dead and the living. What was it? Inside. That was one more term. I can't remember. But anyway, so it's down there. It's down underneath us, where the souls apparently goes. So see if we can find. Let's see here. It should be around here somewhere, elders, and it's again, he's just passing it by as something that it's kind of of course, knowing that you were redeemed from your futile behavior inherited from your fathers, not with what is corruptible, silver or gold, but with the precious blood of the Mashiach, as of a lamb, unblemished and spotless, of course. Yeah, in regards to salvation, that's the most important thing. In regards of, we know that Jesus is our Savior. He's God in the flesh. But still, these other things, it's kind of nice to know what happens. Like, what happens when we die? What goes on? And like it's well, I guess we'll all find out when we die, right? But it would just be nice to understand what the Bible tells us about it. Yeah, here we go. So this is Peter, 3rd Peter 18. Because even Mashiach once suffered for sins, the righteous for the unrighteous, to bring you to Elohim, or to God, on God plural in regards to Elohim. So I'm not entirely sure how they figure out how to insert the plural form of it, but anyway. Having been put to death indeed in the flesh. So Jesus, according to Peter here, which, of course he dies, but I'm just taking it from his words here, from Peter's words. Indeed, so having been put to death, right? Death. Jesus was killed on the tree. Indeed, in the flesh, right? His flesh died. But then it says, but made alive in the spirit, the Ruach. And maybe we should go a little back, right? Just to have the context of it. Okay, having a good conscience, so that when they speak against you as doers of evil, those who falsely accuse you of good behavior in Mashiach shall be ashamed. For it is better, if it is the desire of Elohim to suffer for doing good than for doing evil. In regards to when we do good, and they attack us for doing good and all that, that's better than, of course, doing bad and being persecuted for bad, right? And anyway, because even Mashiach once suffered for sins, and sins is transgressions of the law, the righteous for the unrighteous, to bring you to Elohim, having been put to death indeed in the flesh, but made alive in the Ruach. So it seems like Peter, he died on the tree, right? For sinners, unrighteous people. And then he says, but he was made alive in the spirit, the Ruach. And then it goes further here, in which also he went and proclaimed unto, and interestingly enough, it uses the spirits, at least in the translation here. If we look at how overall, it should be the souls, because you become a living soul by the spirit, the breath. So, but anyway, in which also he went and proclaimed unto the spirits in prison, who were disobedient at one time, when the patience of Elohim waited in the days of Noah. So these people are from before the flood, while the ark was being prepared, in which a few, that is, 8 beings, were saved through water, which figure now also saves us. Immersion, not a putting away of the filth of the flesh, but the answer of a good conscience towards Elohim, through the resurrection of Yeshua HaMashiach, who having gone into the heavens, again, he wasn't, the 3 days and three nights, he was not in the heavens, he was in the earth, in the inner earth, in the heart of earth, in the underworld, in the realm of the dead and the living, because those who die with Christ dies living, even if we die, we shall live. That's the first death. We pass over the second death. But there's those people who are dead, in regards of they're going to be resurrected to death, judged to the lake of fire. So, but it's just like if Jesus, according to this, goes down into Hades, or Sheol in Hebrew, the underworld, inside the earth, in the inner earth, in the heart of earth, that he goes down there, and all the, according to Peter, the spirits, I would say souls, but Peter uses, according to this, at least in regards to this translation, I don't know in regards to the Greek or the Aramaic. I think we have the First Peter in Aramaic. We have 22 of the 27 books in Aramaic, which don't have those issues which they have in the Greek, in regards of, because they were translating from, and when you do the best that you can do when you translate, but you might take some other words or write things a little differently than another when you write, when you translate it. It's the same thing with translations of the Bible. You can make it actually say the same thing. Like if you have a line, you can make it say the same thing, but you can do it in different ways. There are different options for you to do it. And there's also some, if you're going in one direction or another direction in regards of what you think is important to weigh, or in regards of, so as far as I know, we had a Jew that thought that the pointers from the Hebrew was so important, so he ended up taking all those pointers and finding equivalent things in the Greek, because the Hebrews have some kind of wording that it's not found in other languages and all that, and so he ended up, instead of just taking it word for word, he rather wanted to find something that was close to the meaning of it. So again, that's one way to translate things. As I understand it, we don't have that Bible version anymore, or that translation. It was lost in history, apparently. So, in which also he went and proclaimed unto the spirits in prison, right? So, according to this, we told him, whatever the case, either if we want to talk about souls or spirits, because the spirit is he breathed the spirit into Adam and he becomes a living nephesh, a living soul. And without the spirit, he's dead. Um, it's just, a dead soul. And I would have thought it would be inactive, right? And the program don't have the spirit anymore. It's not active anymore. The interface is gone. The program is on the hard drive, and the spirit, the activation is not there at the moment. And then we resurrect, and it's giving the spirit again and becomes a living nephesh once again, and the soul is then active. But and who knows, maybe in regards to the spirit, might be leading us to further understanding that they might not have had in the. You can see John, for example, that is writing the last gospel, and he has it seems John has so much more understanding, or a huge amount of more understanding in his later life than what the Jews had, in the beginning, in regards of who is this guy. Of course they do write in regards of Jesus as God and all that. The divinity is there and all that, as they write what he said and what he was doing and so forward. But it doesn't seem like they totally get all the things. Whereas John later on already, it's very powerful. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. Already there, very, very powerful beginning. He was in the beginning with God. All came to be through him, and without him, not even one came to be that came to be. In him was life, and the life was the light of men. And it's very concentrated in regards of who Jesus is. That he's God in the flesh and all that. And it's yeah, I think the pretty much the most powerful of the four gospels. This would be the book that I would, if people needed to only read one book in regards of Jesus, this would be the one. And the movie that was made in regards of it, word for word, is just absolutely wonderful. Again, there might be some issues, but these issues are minor compared to other movies. It is the best that the more concentrated you get in regards of, you will find some issues here and there, and yeah, well, that's just how it is. So anyway, so what Peter says here, is that Jesus went, he didn't go to heaven. And people are like, oh, when we die, we're going directly to heaven, or we're going directly to hell. It's like, does Jesus comes back to resurrect us? Oh, he does? So why would he come back to resurrect us if we're already with him when we die? So it's just, it's a lot of pagans believe this heaven hell doctrine. So But anyway, in which also he went and proclaimed unto the spirits in prison. So in regards to the inner earth, they are seen as being in prison. And Jesus is the one, I guess, that have the keys, as he talks about, right? He has the keys, right? And he springs up the prison by proclaiming the truth to them in regards to the gospel. And again, we have some other sources that talks about what happened down there. But again, to verify it or not is. But first thing we have to conclude if these are the sources that talks about it could actually be true. Because if they're just going against what the Bible says on, then um, of course we can throw it out. But if the documents actually tend to verify and follow along, although do have more details, then we have, at least it's going to follow along with the Bible. The problem is, can we trust the information as valid or not? Was it